In that she adds some stuff to the character that isn't actually there.
Like her and the guy that she's having sex with during that one scene, the food scene.
Right.
Honestly, that was some of the better acted parts of the movie.
Right.
Considering it's like softcore porn.
Right. Yeah. She does the best with what she's given. I mean, it's otherwise, Tommy's obviously the favorite, because who can't love Tommy? There is no The Room without Tommy. Is there anything you feel should be added to the movie to make it better or cut altogether? I know we discussed the vampire thing, and I don't think either of us really thought that the vampire really added.
No, it didn't. I don't really know what could be cut from it. I know I've said that the middle takes a dip, but everything that's in it is kind of necessary.
Right. There's the little, football scene in the alley where they just explain away the underpants. Mike gets pushed into the dumpster, and they don't use the subsequent footage.
Right.
So, I mean, it's good for bad movie territory, because you get to criticize that, but it's also kind of one of the slower segments in the movie.
Right.
There's a couple pieces of Greg and Johnny jogging that don't need to be there.
Yeah.
And a couple transitions that go on a little bit longer.
Yeah, maybe that one scene in the park where they're throwing the football around doesn't
Right.
really need to be there. And
we have a scene after that with them throwing
don't
the
they
football.
address that in The Disaster Artist, where Tommy just wants to do the scene for no reason, and Greg's like, why?
Oh, I know. You can follow the football around the movie most of the time. It
Yeah.
only, makes a couple magical disappearances and appearances otherwise. Okay, so do we recommend this as a bad movie night?
Of course.
Right, of course.
If you haven't seen it yet, watch it.
Yeah, watch it. It's easy to find. It's a really fun watch. It's great to watch it with a group.
Watch it with a group, yeah.
I think the fact that it has a follow-up movie is just fantastic. The Disaster Artist, I do recommend definitely watching it after The Room, as opposed to...
Yeah, I would go The Room and then The Disaster Artist.
Right.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of payoff if you watch The Disaster off after.
Right. And I think the mockumentary, The Room Actors Where Are They Now, I think that's a lot of fun, too. Yeah. I think Robin Paris did a really good job spearheading that.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, so definitely go and check it out. Check out The Room. Check out The Disaster Artist for sure. Check out The Room Actors, Where Are They Now? All of this, except for The Disaster Artist, is available for you on YouTube, as well as plenty of other formats. So, get out there. That being said, we're not completely done. We have just a little bit more for you. We will get into that extra media in just a moment with a little bit of discussion about The Disaster Artist and a little bit of discussion about The Room Actors, Where Are They Now? But let's get into the Fix This Flick segment.
Fix This Flick.
Fix this flick. How would you fix this flick, Alan?
Okay, so here's the thing. The Room is kind of fun where it's at with the bad moviness. I think it's fixable. I think you could make a good movie out of this. I think there's a lot of distance to be covered to get there.
Yes, I was saying that you would require a complete rewrite.
Right. Almost a complete recasting. I think Robin Paris is possibly the only person you could keep. Right. As far as people who had enough chop to be able to do that. It does need a rewrite of the dialogue. I think you can keep a lot of the core concepts.
Right.
I don't know how I feel about the undercover cop thing. I think
I don't really like it.
Yeah, I think you dropped the undercover cop thing. I think
the heart of the story really is the love affair between the best friends, you know.
Right, so you can't have that just jump in at 3.5 minutes. You can't just have them be banging 3.5 minutes into a movie where you needed to establish first Johnny and Lisa's, romance, and then have that break apart. You can't do that in 3.5 minutes.
Right.
So you have to have a little bit more lead up for sure, I feel.
Definitely.
Then on top of that, I definitely think you need different musical scoring. Different sound editing can do a lot to make this seem a lot darker. Different lighting in a lot of places.
The lighting. The lighting is definitely needs to be changed and stuff. There's a lot of weird coloring going on throughout the room.
Use of camera angles and camera work to create tension. I think,
remember how they had that one scene with Greg and Peter on the roof?
Right.
They were the dramatic camera angle change where he's about to throw him off the roof.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
They tried.
They They certainly did. Okay, so that being said, you finished with The Room. You're done with that. You're looking for some more content. There is The Disaster Artist by Greg Sestero. So, The Room itself, it was a pretty instant cult classic. And it developed a pretty heavy following among some of Hollywood's more prominent actors. And Greg Sestero was initially pretty jazzed at its popularity and cult status. But he pretty quickly found out that The Room wasn't going to lead to the Hollywood success that he had previously anticipated. And so he decided to try and capitalize on that a little bit with his novel. And honestly, I don't think there's any shame in that, you know.
No.
So,
and besides, it has an interesting story to tell.
Yeah, it does. It has a great story to tell, and I feel like any Big Room fans out there should probably, go check it out, It gives you some of the most personal insight into this disaster piece as you can get, right? But anyway, so Greg, not getting work, writing a novel, which does pretty well in its own right, and subsequently a copy of this novel lands in the hands of our Hollywood notable, James Franco, who already a fan of the movie. He reads the book and he decides to acquire the rights to the story so that he can then adapt it into a screenplay.
James Franco is also pretty heavily involved in the book world. He's written like a couple books.
Oh, really?
I remember.
Oh, really?
There was a Palo Alto, which was a collection of short stories written about the area he grew up in from his teenage years, I think. And there was one other one. I can't remember it, though.
Oh, that's super cool. So, James Franco, he became super inspired after reading this story of The Room's production, and he decided to acquire the creative rights to the Disaster Artist, and and in 2014, he began filming on this. And the film became a pretty big deal, because, if you watched it, so many cameos.
Right.
So many people in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's
and a lot of them are only on there for a couple minutes.
Right. It's a lot of fun, though. I mean,
yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's a well-told story. They do a great job with it. It stars James Franco, Dave Franco, Seth Rogen, Aria Grainer, Alison Brie. It was released in 2017, and it features what is a rather reaccurate telling of the events that led up to the release of The Room. My one big caveat I will say is I did look it up. The one thing is the whole Malcolm in the Middle bit in the middle is just a little bit of fluff. He just didn't want to shave his face.
Oh, really? Is that really?
Yeah, because he was getting a little bit fed up.
I kind of like the Malcolm in the Middle bit.
I know. I hate to spoil it for you if I spoiled it for you, because I do feel like it adds to the story, so...
That's fun.
Right, it is fun. That's why I don't have such a problem with it. It is pretty fun. The movie is it's a must watch for any bad movie fans or anybody who's already seen The Room. It comes with our highest recommendations, really.
Yes. So there's also the mockumentary follow-up to The Room, The Room Actors, Where Are They Now? The mockumentary follows up on some of our favorite actors as they play character versions of themselves. I got to watch the Robin segment where she's struggling with her kids and her abandoned marriages. Right. I do remember that. I mean, she goes through quite a few, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. It's pretty funny.
I remember there's a segment with Philip Haldiman where he's running a Denny's.
Yeah.
And everything's room-themed in that Denny's. And
no, it's not everything's room themed. It's he works at the Denny's. Denny's, right? Not associated with the restaurant Denny's in any way, shape, or form.
Oh.
He worked at the Denny's with an I.
Right.
And everybody keeps coming in and giving him crap that he's Denny from The Room and throwing spoons at him and making rude jokes.
And then you have the Dan Janjigian episode where he is a newly father.
Yeah, he's a new father.
And he's just as aggressive as you'd expect Chris Hart to be.
Right. He won't give up the Chris Hart persona. That's his whole bit.
He didn't drop the oh God, what was the line? He didn't drop the role until he did the DVD commentary.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which he never did the DVD commentary, so he never dropped the act.
Totally. Oh, that's funny. Later on in the series, you gotta watch Carolyn Minogue as she actually finds her own self, her very own Johnny with a very stable job. Peter Vogue makes appearance in several episodes as everyone tries to kill him and throw him off or drown him in various things.
Wow.
It's all produced by Robin Paris, and it's pretty funny. You can get DVDs of it on her website, theroommockumentary.com, all one word. Then the bad news is the DVDs only contain the first 4 episodes, but they all are personally signed by her, so that's pretty cool.
Right.
And the series itself has won numerous awards and accolades at a wide variety of film festivals.
But now that we've got all that out the way, the entire series, all 8 episodes, including the 4 that didn't make it to DVD, are available on her website, theroommockumentary.com, for free. They are also available on YouTube as well, so any fans of The Room should definitely go check it out and watch these 8 episodes. They're about 8 minutes each, and the length coming in at just over an hour.
So I went to her website. I really want the Chris R. coffee mug.
Well, Christmas is coming up. Maybe you'll get it for Christmas.
It's out of stock.
Oh.
I want my effing caffeine. I want my effing coffee mug, Robin. I want my effing coffee mug, Robin.
Do you think this is a joke, Robin?
Do you think this is a joke? You think this is a joke? I want my effing coffee mug. Seriously, though, I would be delighted if you restock those coffee mugs. I'll buy one from you, girl. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And just to follow up the follow-up of the making of, there is another documentary that's been completed, but it's currently, kind of, hung up in the courts.
Oh, yeah. It's called Room Full of Spoons.
It's produced and directed by a Canadian filmmaker named Rick Harper, and he attempts to go into the history of Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, he does the big deep dive on Tommy Wiseau. But Tommy, being the very private person that he is, does not want his private life discussed.
Right, he does not want his private life discussed.
Hence why it's been held up in court.
Right, yeah. So there's that. But you don't have to wait for that to get out of the court systems, There is more work from Tommy and Greg available.
Yeah, there's Best Friends Volume 1 and 2. We haven't watched those yet.
Yeah, we haven't watched them yet, but they both do star Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero. And from what I've read online, they get pretty good reviews from Room fans.
Right,
so.
and there's also Big Shark, which we've mentioned earlier.
Yeah, looking forward to Big Shark a lot. I think Big Shark looks like a lot of fun.
It's Tommy's take on the Meg.
Right, Tommy's take on the Meg. Honestly, Miracle Valley looks like a lot of fun, too.
I think Miracle Valley actually looks better than Big Shark. A little bit more quality there.
I'm looking forward to both of them, honestly.
Yeah.
They both look like a lot of fun. So, neither of these have come out yet. They're both scheduled to come out last year, but with pandemic and everything, a lot of things have been delayed. So, we're crossing our fingers on a quick release on both of those.
Right.
Yeah. All right, I think we're pretty much done here. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks to all the cast and crew for all their hard work. We knew it was a hard filming process. We're all glad to see that it just paid off in the end. That being said, we can't wait for the next big hit from Tommy and Greg. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you all for listening, too. Yeah, thank you. I'm off to watch for True Puppet Master.
We do have one final segment for everybody. If you'd like to follow us to our roundtable wrap-up, we'll have a few last show notes for you.
There are actually a lot of details about The Room that we simply had to omit because of runtime on this particular episode. We really wanted to give you a good breakdown, but at a certain point there were other threads that would have just taken too long to explore. We left out quite a bit. For starters, we didn't really discuss the original script at all and any of its craziness. This is a whole nother rabbit hole to venture down right here. Likewise, we barely touched Greg Sestero's novel The Disaster Artist, and essentially only mentioned the movie and one or two details from it. We mostly based this episode off of the YouTube version of the movie, while only noting one or two important aspects of the Blu-ray, as talking about the differences between the two would have extended runtime too much, and we felt many people more likely to be more familiar with that version. Sadly, we also weren't able to discuss interviews with cast and crew from either the Blu-ray or DVD or extra content. As such, we've decided to start off our second season with The Room's follow-up film, The Disaster Artist, so patiently look forward to that. We plan to drop it 1 year today from this episode's release. So look forward to having plenty extra quality time with Tommy and Greg in the future. All of that being said, I think it's finally time to stop talking about The Room for this episode. Find us on Twitter at bad_among. Also on Facebook and Instagram at Bad Movies Among Us. We'll have shorter bad movie reviews for you as well as polls that'll allow you to choose some of the movies we decide to do episodes on. So, Alan, what are you up to?
Oh, well, let's see. Besides working on this episode and watching The Room about 1,000 times, I've been playing Hot Wheels Unleashed on the PlayStation 5.
Indeed.
It is a lot of fun. If we ignore the fact that it has about a dozen weird monetization methods, it's a really fun Hot Wheels game. Definitely the best that's ever been made, and a really great racer in its own right.
I even played a little bit on the side. I thought it was fun too.
What have you been up to, Nohea?
Well, I have just recently downloaded an old video game of mine from my childhood called American McGee's Alice.
Right, I've been side-watching that as Nohea plays that. It's pretty amazing.
It's also very difficult.
Yeah, it's almost a Dark Souls interpretation on an Alice in Wonderland styles game.
Yeah, with some, very challenging platforming.
Very challenging late 90s, early